The Rainy Night and the Missing Rickshaw Puller. A horror novel. It was a stormy monsoon night in Kolkata. The narrow lanes of North Kolkata lay drenched under the relentless assault of rain. The flickering street lamps cast long, trembling shadows across the wet cobblestones, and the sound of thunder echoed like distant cannon fire. Most people had taken shelter indoors, behind bolted doors and curtained windows. But one man braved the storm, a rickshaw puller named Haripada. Haripada was in his 50s, his skin darkened by the sun and his frame worn by years of labor. Yet he was strong, his legs hardened by the weight of carrying others through life. He didn't like working at night, especially during heavy rains, but that day he needed the money. His daughter was ill, and the medicine she needed didn't come cheap. It was near midnight when Haripada stood beneath a giant banyan tree near Sovabeza. The wind howled, and the tree swayed like a dancer possessed. He waited for someone, anyone, in need of a ride. Just as he was about to leave, a voice called out, soft, feminine, and oddly echoing. "Rickshaw, Baba, rickshaw." He turned to see a woman standing a few feet away. She was wearing a white saree, her long black hair plastered to her face from the rain. Her features were hard to make out in the gloom, but something about her made Haripada hesitate. She stood motionless, water dripping from her fingertips, her eyes glowing faintly, or was that just the street lamp behind her? "Where to, Dee?" Haripada asked, his voice trembling slightly. She whispered, "Take me to Fulbagan, near the old cemetery." Haripada hesitated. That road was rarely taken at night, and the cemetery had a reputation for strange happenings. But he needed the money. He nodded, and she climbed onto the rickshaw without a sound. The moment she sat, a strange chill ran down Haripada's spine. The air seemed to get colder, the rain heavier. He shook off the feeling and began to pedal. The streets grew darker as they moved. The sounds of the city faded away, swallowed by the rain and the mist that began to rise from the ground. Haripada didn't speak. Neither did she. Only the creak of the rickshaw and the whispering wind kept them company. As they neared the cemetery, the lamps became fewer and further between. The final stretch was completely dark, not a single light in sight. Still, Haripada pressed on, his heart beating faster. Suddenly, the woman spoke. "You believe in ghosts, Haripada?" He jolted. What did you say?" Her voice was different now, lower, almost inhuman. "Do you believe in those who never found peace, who wait in the rain, who return?" Before he could respond, the wind screamed. Lightning split the sky. And then, silence. The rickshaw was empty. Haripada stopped. "Look back." She was gone. Vanished into thin air. A chill crawled up his spine. He called out, "Dee? Dee? Where did you go?" No response. Only the rustling of leaves and the hiss of falling rain. And then he saw it. A figure, the same woman, standing in the cemetery, her back to him. Her long hair flowed unnaturally, as if underwater. Slowly, she turned. Her face was no longer obscured. Her eyes were hollow pits, and her mouth stretched into a grin that reached her ears. She opened her arms. Haripada tried to turn the rickshaw, but his limbs froze. He was paralyzed, unable to move, unable to scream. The woman glided toward him, her feet never touching the ground. The next morning, the police found the rickshaw lying at the edge of the cemetery. It was intact, wheels muddy, seat soaked, but Haripada was nowhere to be found. His slippers were there, and a faint trail of footprints led into the cemetery, only to vanish in the middle of a waterlogged patch of earth. Locals whispered that Haripada had been taken by the ghost of Reena Bai, a courtesan from the colonial era, murdered and dumped in the cemetery by a jealous lover. Since then, on stormy nights, she was said to return, seeking a ride and a soul to take with her. Some say they still hear the creaking of Haripada's rickshaw wheels echoing through the rain. Some claim to see a silhouette, a man pulling an invisible passenger through the mist. But no one dares to stop. And the banyan tree at Sovabeza? It still stands, waiting for the next ride.